Collingwood probably shouldn't go for Petracca, even if he makes it publicly known that he is interested in moving to a certain club. And obviously, with Petracca being a lifetime Collingwood supporter before being drafted to the D's, it would make the most logical sense from an emotional investment perspective. But here are some reasons why I think it's probably not the right play in this given time. Is he a superstar of the league? Yes. Is he probably a top 10 player in the league? Yes. But my issues that spring to mind when it comes to the consideration of bringing Christian Petracca to the Collingwood Football Club, I asked myself, well, what do we have in the midfield right now? We have Nick Dacos, we have Jack Crisp, we have De Goey, and then we have our vets in Still Sidebottom, Pendlebury, Tom Mitchell, who has missed a large part of this year. And then if we look further down the lines, we've got Finlay McRae, who's probably not going to, I say probably won't be a key fixture in the midfield in the long term. Ned Long, Bytel, Sullivan. And then there's those players who are prospective at the moment. Ed Allen probably fits that sort of picture. And then further down the track is you're looking at your draft, you're looking at your youth, and the first thing that springs to mind when I hear Christian Petracca is, well, what about Thomas McGuan? What about the youth coming through? It's sure getting Christian Petracca next year is going to help our pursuit. But I'm concerned. Why am I concerned? Because I've seen this happen at other clubs. I've seen Richmond, after a really good year in 2020, I think they were the number one team for expected score. So Dimmer says, cool, let's go get Tim Taranto. Look where they are now, they're a rabble. You look at West Coast, when they were competitive, they go and get Tim Kelly. And then look at them, they're a rabble. So it very well could be the same story for us, and history tends to repeat itself for certain reasons. So obviously teams are trying to stay relevant, and they go for a big fish in Tim Taranto, and they go for a big fish in Tim Kelly. And then what are you left with? You're left with this superstar player who's just making up the numbers in the league because the team is not competitive and they've exceeded beyond their premiership window. And I'm not saying Collingwood are past that just yet, but I feel like we need to hedge our bets in a way that we don't overinvest in the now. I'd rather us spend less money because Petrarca's on this massive contract at the D's. Spend less money on Mark Keane or Tom Barrass, give up lesser picks, ensure that we're reserving picks for Thomas McGuan or any other desirable player. Or if we are going to go for someone, a big fish in this big pond that is the AFL world, go for a Mac Andrew if he hasn't signed on. I know Lick Davies, Uniacke has obviously already signed on at North Melbourne. Is Bailey Smith still in the picture? Josh Battle. So that's where I would be looking to shop if I was personally Collingwood. And as much as I'd love to see the superstar Christian Petracca in the black and white, I just don't think it works. And can you have Petracca and De Goey in the same team where they basically play the same role, where they're both mid forwards? Obviously, Petrarca is probably definitely one tier above De Goey, I would say, when it comes to fulfilling that dusty role. But I think there's better ways to go about it. We already know Collingwood's average age at the moment sits close to 28 years old, which is the top of the AFL for average age. So adding someone like Christian Petracca is not going to help our causes. And we've had concerns about, like I said, going too old and investing in the now. And if we go for Petracca, it's probably just going to inflate that even more and cause some disgruntlement. And it's just an easy out for the fans. If shit doesn't work out for Collingwood the next couple of years, we can look back at this and rue this decision. And just as a subtopic for today, guys, let's talk about Joe Richards, another player who is a forward, but also can play midfield and plied his trade in the VFL prior to playing for Collingwood and has that, I guess, string to his bow to become a midfielder over time. But just talking about his contract situation with Collingwood, he's reportedly been offered a 4-year contract from Port Adelaide. And whether it's Joe's agents going to seek out offers from other clubs, which you're probably going to be diligent as an agent and suss out what's going on elsewhere. My question is, what is it that is imploring him to consider these options and look elsewhere? Is it one, he's from Wangaratta, so he wants to go to a lesser, quieter town in somewhere like Port Adelaide? Does he feel like he's being deprived of opportunities? Or C, is there something else? Does he not like the players, the coaches, etc., etc.? I don't know how much I'd be willing to hold on to someone like Joe Richards with a sample size of less than 5 AFL games if he's going to cost too much. And to the point, back to Petracca, with a lot of our vets are likely to be signing lesser contracts to allow bigger fish to come to the club. Again, it doesn't have to be Petracca. It can be a few players rather than just the one big fish. And if Joe Richards is going to take up a portion of that salary where we want to go and explore other options and Joe Richards is holding us back and he's asking for too much, then I hate to say it, but I'd almost be willing to let him go depending on what he's wanting from Collingwood. Like, what is he out of contract? So he's contracted until the end of this year. So what does that mean? Does that mean if we're going to lose him for nothing if he walks, essentially, which is what it sounds like? So therefore we would have to sign him on for obviously a price greater than what he's being offered elsewhere. And like I said, he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 AFL games this year, a lot of them coming on as a sub. He's looked really promising. His ball use going inside 50 is amazing. But similar to the Oliver Henry situation, it's like, yes, you're good. You've been deprived of opportunity. Henry's doing well at Geelong now. Do I hate that he's not at Collingwood? I'm not too sure as of right now. But that's probably the predicament the parties, the Collingwood and the Joe Richards parties are standing on right now. The fact that what are each of them willing to give up to ensure this relationship is amicable and can move forward in the black and white. And of course, I'd like to see Joe Richards out of... And of course, I'd love to see more than anyone this week against the D's, for Joe Richards to get an opportunity and play and really show something. Play the full game, not just the 30 seconds that he got against, Sydney. Let him show, hey, I'm leaving. Here's what I can do. And this is your last chance to, I guess, sign the dotted line for what I'm truly worth. That's what I want to see from the Collingwood Football Club. Above all, we're resting players like Dan McStay. I think Pendles is a chance to rest. If there's players you want to bring in who want to prove themselves, I think it has to be number one, Joe Richards, so we can get a larger sample size to consider before we think about truly moving him on. So let me know what your thoughts are. I just wanted to make this an open sort of thread and we can further dive into this conversation in the comment section. Go Pies.